Uh, Hi, welcome to SuperSoul Boulder. I'm Dr. Lara Johnson from Boulder, Colorado, from Yellow Brick Physical Therapy. This is where we talk about all things mind, body, hearts, health, and wellness. And I have such a fun, awesome guest with me today, Ms. Tara Mazanec, and fitness professional, holistic health counselor, mom. We go back from our days in Boston working at HealthWorks fitness centers for women. And I'm so excited to have her on today. Hi, Tara. Thanks for joining.
Hello. Oh my God, thank you for having me. This is so great.
It is so great. It's so great just to kind of see you and connect again after all these years.
Indeed.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about yourself, how what you do, how you got into fitness and health, and what you're up to.
Oh my gosh, we're going back 18 years now. It seems like a lifetime ago. So I am originally from Connecticut, but now I live in Cambridge with my two kids, Scarlett 10 and Colton, he's 5, and my husband. And I entered the fitness world kind of by accident. I was a mutual fund accountant working in finance. That's where I met my husband. And I had no intention of doing anything but climb the corporate ladder. Really. I mean, I was pre-med in college, so there was kind of a little trajectory. And I took a different road because I realized that I wanted something different. So that was what led me to accounting. But then I got into it 5 years in, and I was like, I need something even more. So that's when I really discovered wellness and became a personal trainer. I actually worked at HealthWorks first and worked the bottom of the barrel just to get my foot in the door, and fell in love with wellness, everything about it, just working with women, helping them discover, different parts of them that they thought was lost, helping to develop programs. And, 18 years later, I just still love it. Believe it or not.
I believe it. I believe it. That's so amazing. And then along the way, I know you picked up holistic health counseling too. How is that fed into what you're doing as well?
I really wanted to meet clients from a counseling perspective. I knew that for the women that I was working with, I really love working with ambitious women who have careers, have families, who used to be athletes, and just have kind of lost sight of what they need to do to stay on track. They have the answers, they have the tools, they just need a little support in organizing and pulling it all together, just to meet them where they are, especially as they age and get into different decades of their life. So I didn't go the dietetics route because I wasn't going to become a dietitian to just meal plan. And I love dietitians. I have the utmost respect for them. I work hand in hand with many of them. But for me, I really knew that these women who I wanted to work for had the tools. And they didn't need me to handhold them. They just needed support and guidance and giving them really the confidence back to make them become more competent in what they already knew, but they just didn't know how to put the pieces together because, they have a family, they have a really big career, and they're not in their 20s. I'm 43 and they're in their 40s and 50s, maybe some of them are 35, but they really just needed that support.
Yeah. I love that. I totally get it. That was me. The ambitious, hard driving, striving for everything. I know a lot, but then what are you finding? So I relate to this, and I like to work with these kinds of people, especially women too, women and men who feel this ambitious, are used to that ambitious place and are now reaching a point in life where they know they need something else. What do you think that is for people? What is it they're struggling with the most?
I think for some, I played soccer my whole life and into college. And for that whole time period, I was told what to strength train, what exercises to do, what to eat, how to structure my day, how to structure my schoolwork. And it was all laid out for me. But when I left college, it was like I was fed to the wolves. I was really left to figure it all out on my own. And that to me was really scary because I was left with, okay, yes, I have these tools, but somebody always used to tell me how to do it all. And I said to myself one day, okay, if I'm going to become, sufficient and stable in what I'm doing and have longevity, I need to know how to nourish myself, how to exercise properly for every decade of my life to create sustainable wellness. And if I don't have that direction and I don't learn that within myself, how am I going to teach anybody else? And so I guess that's kind of what led me to the counseling piece, really helping people in every decade of their life who used to have everything done and told to them, to now spin it around to help them become more in command with their wellness.
Oh, I love the way you said that. More in command with their wellness. That sounds like tweetable. More in command with their wellness. I totally, I get that so much. You and I are more kindred spirits than I think I even ever realized how difficult it is to leave the structure. For me, it was structure of academics, which I did for a very long time, structure of running, training, programming, and suddenly finding myself in this place of like, wait, I've got to create my own structure in all ways, not just the hard hitting ones, but the other ones that help sustain that place as well. And I just see so many people out there also hitting that point of struggling with that, especially when they come across an injury. And now we've got to really stop things. Or other in injuries, one example. I think changes in big life changes is another part of that. So,
and you know, really trusting themselves. Like for me, when I started developing programming for clients, I had to ask them, okay, where are you right now, mentally and physically? And let's meet you where you are. Let's program based on where you are, because you will get results if you have a proper plan in place for your current situation, because it's always going to change. And some people get really scared by that because they're so used to being structured and routine that they don't know how to prepare for impact, or prepare for the next stage of life, or prepare for, a job replacement, or prepare for children. So, I've gone through all of these stages and really taken a look at my wellness and where I want it to be, and really just kind of programmed around that to create that sustainability.
That's incredible, and incredibly important at this particular time in the world right now, when there's a lot of impact happening on everyone's lives. Any thoughts on what we can see during this time and what's possible?
I think just reflecting on where you want your wellness to go, not saying, I just give up on all of it. But then on the flip side, not writing down everything that you've never had time for that you now need to implement, because I think that can be very stressful too. I've gone both ways. I've gone the direction of, oh God, I just feel so down about things. Maybe it's not worth it. And that only lasted a very hot second. I only give myself like a 10-minute pity party. But because I'm really ambitious, I went on the other side. And I was just writing this down the other day. I literally made a list of all the things that I now have time for, because I've stopped like saying to myself, I don't have time and I'm busy. So these words we've heard many, many times. You and I as wellness professionals, we hear it all the time, right? I don't have time to work out. I'm too busy, da, da, da.
One of the biggest barriers for people in their wellness and exercise.
Definitely. But now, because we have so much more time, let's just take a look at one or two things that you want to implement. Now, whether it's about your wellness or whether it's about something in your home that you want to change up, just focus on one or two things so that you're not completely overwhelming yourself. And then just plan and take that necessary step to see how it fits with your family structure. Because, you can follow wellness guidelines, you can follow anyone's wellness philosophy, and it'll work, because they all work if you follow it. But does it fit with where you and your family are at that time, and will it be sustainable? And those are the two major components that you have to work with.
Those sound to me like the two keys. Yeah, absolutely. Does it fit with who you are and where you want to go, your family structure, and right.
Yeah. And also, like, does it fit with the kind of athlete that you think you are currently? And because we are all athletes, right? And we just have a different idea of what that athlete looks like. I'm not the same athlete that I was when I was in college playing soccer, but I'm still an athlete. I'm an athlete for where I am, where my body is at 43 years old. And I'm okay with that because it feels great. I'm doing more stretching, more foam rolling, more recovery. I haven't slowed down per se, but it's a slower pace based on where my body is, but it's still a great pace, if that makes sense.
More balanced. It sounds more
It is. Yeah.
balanced. So,
Yeah.
so that it's like instead of for example, it's easy for me to use running as an example, or you can use strength training, but maybe you're just going and doing those things, but not doing all the other stuff that helps you sustain that. So having more balance with all of it, you know, a little less here allows you a little more time there. I think that is the definition of sustainability. And it sounds to me like you've reinvented yourself as an athlete, redefined who you are as an athlete. And I think that's really
it's made such a difference, especially from the recovery standpoint. You know, I used to grind and, you know, not think too much about recovery, but recovery is equally as important. Sleep. I mean, I would get 4 or 5 hours a night at most, but now 6 to 8, I have to get it. Otherwise my body doesn't fully recover. I'm sore and I can't really give it my all for my next workout. And so it's just really important for me to, you know, bring it back to basics, if you will, and, you know, keep doing the fundamentals, because the fundamentals are going to keep you not only progressing, but, you know, keeping and being sustainable with your wellness, avoiding injury.
Right. No, I totally relate personally. I found myself in that go, not getting enough sleep, knowing and professing that recovery is so important, but not acting it. And I know you've already said this, but practicing what I preach feels so important to me now in impacting other people and helping them see that. If I can't do it myself, how can I help others do that as well?
And exactly. And then knowing, like, why are you doing it? I'm really a proponent on identifying your why and your reasons behind what you do. Because if you don't have that emotional component that drives you to move forward, it's going to keep pulling you back. And so, you know, my why is really set in stone, where I want to be able to climb mountains when I'm 85. I don't want to be with a walker, God willing, but I need to take all of the steps right now, every single day. And that's recovery, that's working out, that's strength training, that's eating well. It's everything that has wellness in the wellness circle, and do it every day. Be consistent and committed to it.
Don't you think also, I love that. And don't you think also as we're getting back to essentials, especially right now in the world, it's the same in our lives, getting back to essentials, sleep. I had to take a big break from all the hard hitting running, training, and everything I was doing, and come back to sleeping, stretching, having mobility, eating well, and having that baseline health. Like you said, back to basics, baseline health. And then we add our exercise and fitness on top of it. We're that much better, stronger, more sustainable for the long run.
Yeah, you definitely have to have that foundation set. Like, you wouldn't put windows on a house with no foundation. So, you know, just doing like really high intense programming, if you don't have a solid foundation, can be pretty detrimental to your overall well-being, not only now, but then going forward. So, you know, every program that I do for myself and my clients, there's always some basics that are put in with that, and core work and recovery and mobility and flexibility. And so it's like a full encompassed program. And then we talk about the mental piece, because we're always up here.
I love it. I love it. Sounds really well-rounded, very holistic. What do you do to help yourself have that routine or that structure for the foundational things like that?
You know, I have non-negotiables, and my non-negotiables is there's a vegetable at every single meal. I get a workout in, and every day is different. So regardless of what my schedule is, I try to get about 3 to 4 days of an actual program design. And that could be strength training. It could be intervals, running. And then I add in some really fun stuff, like playing outside with the kids, because that moves your body in so many different ways. Like, you don't have to just be going out for a 5-mile run every day to get fit. I mean, I play tag with the kids, soccer with the kids. I mean, I do so much that is just lifestyle stuff, so that it keeps my body going. But these are kind of my non-negotiables. Like, I always have to have movement in during the day. And whether that's like yoga as a form of movement, foam rolling, playing with the kids, strength training, running. And then, of course, always fueling my body. But then you also have to keep it real. And, you know, if you want a slice of cake, have a slice of cake. Just don't have a huge piece, and don't have it every day.
That sounds really sound and reasonable.
Yeah, it's just well-rounded, you know, and you just have to, I find that treating wellness like a grown adult is really important. Like, you know, I'm not a kid anymore. I don't sneak Doritos away. Not that I did as a kid, but I don't need to eat the whole bag of Doritos. You know, I just don't get all up in my head about wellness. I do what feels good to me. Like tonight, for instance, we had a beautiful dinner. Tim wanted a glass of wine. And of course, like I was like, yeah, sure, this is a beautiful dinner. I'll have a glass of wine. But his glass was like this big and mine was very small. And I only needed one. I didn't need any more because I really love having tea after dinner. But I love the taste of red wine and it just goes really well with my food. So I don't believe in deprivation. For me, it's more about selection rather than deprivation.
Hi.
Listen.
I love it. And I love what you're saying too. Absolutely. There's that holistic, well-rounded part of it too. And so don't you think so many times people's emotions are what are driving if it's a hiding of chips or something like that.
Yes.
And so getting underneath what those more unconscious drives are seems really important to me.
Yes, definitely. And you know, what I teach my clients is to be unconsciously competent in what they're doing. So there are 4 stages of competence and you're really moving them through the 4 stages. And you actually have to meet them where they are because I've categorized the stages into a walker, jogger, runner, and sprinter based on where they are with their competence. Most people just do things out of habit. And so it's on a very unconscious level. But once you teach and guide and make them aware of certain things, then they can make decisions for the better, regardless of what life throws at them. And that's really what you want to get people towards.
Right. The habitual, once you take the time to make those habits and stick to it, then it's so much easier to not be swayed by the things that go on in life, at least not as much, right? When the pendulum.
Yeah. And the pendulum definitely will swing, to your point. And I think it's more about how can you interrupt patterns that aren't necessarily benefiting you and where you want to go as you age. Right. And, you know, once you interrupt that pattern, then you can develop a new pattern that really aligns with your goals, your wants, your desires, and not worry about the deprivation because you are so committed to a better selection that you don't feel deprived.
Right.
And that's kind of the ultimate goal, I guess.
Right. Right. Yes. Everything you're saying, yes. Now, I know you practice yoga and meditation, and some of the people I work with, the audience I have, I like to help people know more about that transition. How has that influenced your life and your well-being?
Oh my God, I love yoga and meditation. I use the Daily Calm, and I also use this new one called Synctuition, which has been so incredible. I'm only on the 7-day trial right now, but it takes it to a whole new level. Like the Daily Calm, I do like 10 to 20 minutes every day, usually before I go to bed. And it's a guided meditation. Her voice is lovely. And she just talks me through some things. And the message is always nice. This other one, Synctuition, is very much going on a deeper level of your unconsciousness. And it brings you to such in a relaxed state that you can handle situations a lot better. I mean, I used to get very anxious if things didn't go the way I wanted them to go. But now I'm like, you know what? It's going to go how it wants to go because that's just what it's going to do. And I have to be okay with that. So my reaction has gotten different.
Beautiful. So it's allowed you a greater capacity to be with whatever it is.
Exactly. And that just is giving me more calm. And I think that's really important. Very
important. Especially for those of us, like you were saying, who have come from that kind of more high pressure, go, high performance lifestyle. We tend toward that patterning, don't you think? And so interrupting that pattern is such a key to being more calm, having more inner peace, being able to flow with things a little bit better, not maybe the higher expectations.
Right. Indeed. And, you know, I think our expectations as humans is very high. And we find that if something doesn't go the way we want it to go, it's not going to happen. But there is a path for all of us. And, you know, whatever you believe, there is a set path for us. And we just have to trust that it's all going to come together and, you know, just keep going. Don't ever stop. Just keep going with what your passions are. And before you know it, you'll start to be more aware. I think that's actually another thing that yoga and meditation has helped with is allowing me to become more aware with recognizing those signals and signs.
I can relate to that. And I love your son in the background.
Oh my gosh. So my husband's home and they're probably wrestling in the background. So
Great.
it's kind of their
Well,
time to be together.
They're getting their movement.
Yeah.
So trust in your process and
Yes.
awareness. Wonderful.
Yep.
Beautiful. We could all use a lot more of that all the time, no matter what's happening. It
Yes.
just doesn't matter. Riding the ups and downs of life, I think both of those pieces are so important.
Mm-hmm. And I think continuously reading and educating, and most people are like, oh, you do so much self-help. I don't think it's self-help. I call it self-growth. And I read a ton of different books. No, I may not implement everything that I've read, but it does make an impact on me. And it helps me to select what I want to believe, what I want to follow, and how I want to live my life. And I recommend highly just keep reading and educating yourself on how you want to be as you age.
Right. Yeah, that's beautiful. So to me, that I would say personal growth and development is huge. Yes. And I love that. It's not so much self-help. It's like, I always want to be growing and developing, and we feed off of growth as humans. And so
yes,
we want to keep developing and aging with intention, aging with alignment. So that
exactly.
we're honing in on that wisdom that's possible through all the experiences we're having.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And you have to keep growing, because if you stop growing, then you stop identifying what's really important to you. And then you get caught in your head. And then you're listening to everybody else and what they're telling you is best for you. The only one who knows what's best for you is you. You have all the tools, not saying you personally, but we all have the tools. It's whether or not we put those tools into action. Mm-hmm. And that's what it's about, like taking that relentless action to be a better version of yourself than you were yesterday.
And if you are going off of what other people are saying, then you're not being in alignment with yourself. You're not taking the time to discover who that is, who that truly is for you. We get so bombarded by all the voices.
We do, especially now, because, we're in a time where we're all hunkering down and there's a lot of resources. I mean, the wellness, the amount of wellness information that is being thrown online right now, there are millions of people offering different solutions. Mm-hmm. I think what people need to do is just follow one or two, take a step back, and try to figure out what's best for them, and realize, okay, not every program online is going to be the best for you. Not every nutritional philosophy will be the best for you, but they all say similar things. So it's really a matter of taking the bits and pieces that you like from each one and then developing your own philosophy. Mm-hmm. How does it feel for you to do X, Y, and Z? How does it feel for you to nourish with X, Y, and Z foods? And then be your own best author or your own chief health officer, which is the name of my program, kind of rediscovering your wellness.
Beautiful. Yeah. I forgot what I was going to say, but tell us more about what kinds of things you are offering.
So what I do is I implement a program. It's like an 8-week program, and I really teach people how to become their own chief health officer, their CHOs. Mm-hmm. So it's called Wellness Independence by Design. And we take all the tools that they've acquired over the years, and we help them to discover the kind of philosophy that they want to implement going forward. And, it may change every, few months. It may change every decade, but that's for them to decide. And once it's almost like balancing interdependence with self-reliance. So you take the support of someone else, and then you balance that with self-reliance, because the women that we work with and the men, they have all the tools. They've probably tried and experimented with 4 or 5 different wellness philosophies, and they have the tools available to them. So what we need to do as professionals is just help guide and support them.
Right.
Yeah.
Give some of that structure you were talking about at the beginning.
Yeah.
And to your point about so many offerings out there, I think it's important to find out what resonates for you.
Yes.
Just like I've had to do that in so many different avenues, and really discern where that alignment is for me. Yep. And I would encourage everyone out there to do that too. Just to your point, Tara, that that it's important to see what resonates for you and go with that. And then, create your own combination by design, or who helps support you in the way that you need it most. There's so much opportunity and and differences out there that can hopefully meet what you personally need.
Right. And you know, the best education I received was from the Institute of Integrative Nutrition, because they really taught me how to implement my own nutritional philosophy based on what my needs and wants were. And, you know, because we read through 200 or 300 different nutritional philosophies, because there are quite a few of them, and really just deciding, okay, what works for that author will not necessarily work for me, but I can pick up some great information from them. And, you know, there's awesome resources from a number of different wellness professionals, but how do you weed out what should work for you and what shouldn't work for you? That's what the support between the wellness professional and the client, that's where that comes from. And then discerning, okay, what's best for you and how do you fit that within your life structure, within your family structure, you know, your culture. I have a lot of clients who can't follow certain programs because, you know, religious reasons or cultural reasons, you know, they have to develop their own philosophy. And they shouldn't have to give up all of their beautiful traditional foods. They just should create healthier versions of it.
Right, right. And how beautiful to create that. That's the hard work. I think that's a harder work, rather than just following what someone else is dictating for you, finding out what works for you. Get the help and support so that you can step into that you're on your own. Like, we all need help and support to learn new things. So we want to get the guidance there. I've had to do that myself for sure. And I've loved giving that for other people as well. But then it's so that you can take it, implement it, know for yourself, and grow in that way.
And that's how you create sustainability.
Yes.
And that is probably one of the most beautiful things that you can do. Excuse me. Can you please?
That's okay.
Thank you. He's trying to go to bed and he's not listening.
Oh no!
Colton, please.
We'll do our quick please. I'm so glad so Tara mentioned for integrative nutrition. And
yes, integrative nutrition was great.
It's so interesting because I was at a big crossroads when we were at HealthWorks, and I was going, am I going to go to get my doctorate in physical therapy, or am I going to go? And I'm so drawn to this holistic health coaching. I'm so drawn, like health, fitness, counseling. And I love talking to you because that's a path I could have taken. Sometimes I wonder if I should have taken. And it's kind of like, maybe it doesn't matter what path we take. We can come around to the same point, offer people assistance in different ways with different skills, but still have a similar message. And I think that's so great. So, but it's really, you know, what, 10, 12 years ago was a big turning point where I was deciding that and was still thinking of doing that alongside my doctoral program. And, you know, what kind of, I had to make that tough decision of one thing at a time, not take it all on. Which was always a bit hard for me, especially in my 20s.
Well, I tell you, in this industry, there are a lot of awesome routes you can go down. Like, so there's many paths, right? You know, every time I watch a lot of my friends who are dietitians and they're, you know, putting out so much great content on social media. And then I watch a lot of my sports medical guys and gals, and it's amazing, and physical therapists. But from what I've learned is, I could have 6 cars and 6 lanes. But what I've learned is, what's my passion? How am I impacting my clients, and how am I making a presence in this industry? And then I just have to stay in my own lane, because I have so many amazing friends and wellness professionals that I can turn to and say, listen, my client is going through XYZ, and I have so many you know, people that I can refer you to, and, you know, really just be there for the client, as opposed to thinking that you have to wear all the hats, because you don't.
So for all our professional friends out there, and we get to collaborate, which is so wonderful.
And you can collaborate, which is beautiful. And, you know, the knowledge that you have and have acquired over the years is just so vast that I wouldn't even think to not reach out to you and say, hey, listen, I have this issue with a client. You know, what do you think about that? And I love that piece, because that's what this is all about. Like, as wellness professionals, it's not about being in competition with one another. It's collaboration. Because we are here for the client. It's not about us.
Right. I know you're the same way. My vision is to help people reach their ultimate potential. And that means in that holistic and broader, balanced way. And, and that's what it's about, really. Because when we get to see others transform in that way, it's just its own reward. It really is.
It is. And especially like when you work side by side with another professional, because I've had physical therapists that I've worked with, and it's so fun. Like they'll send me the programs they're working on, and then I send them back my feedback and the exercises that I've, added on to their programs. And the client is the one that benefits. And that to me is the most important. Because in the end, it's for them.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Okay, Tara, let's I asked Tara to tell me what her favorite exercises that she feels everyone should know. So let's jump into that. We're going to do it together.
Fun.
My sun is going down, so hopefully you'll be able to see me.
So what I love teaching my clients is really coming back to basics. And, I know a lot of you who are listening are previous athletes or who are very much exercise enthusiasts. So bringing it back to basics just really means, okay, let's work with the foundation and the fundamentals, and then you can build from it. So we're going to go through a bear crawl hold, then we're going to add shoulder taps, and then we're going to add walkout push-ups. And then the last one we're going to do is a low or high plank pillow pass through. And all this stuff you can do at home because we're all hunkering down, or you can bring it to the gym when that time comes back.
Love it.
So we're going to go over to the mat. And I'm in my bedroom too.
Yeah.
I just actually discovered
this weird
setup.
Whoop, where'd my hair go?
Okay, so all you need is a pillow. So you've probably all done bear crawls. So you're going to come down on hands, knees, and tuck your toes under. And you want to make sure that your shoulders are right over your wrists. So you're going to tuck your toes under, and then you're just going to hover, lifting your knees right off the mat. Now your knees are right under your hip bones, and your hands and knees are about hip bone, hip distance, maybe a little wider, maybe shoulder width for your hands. And you're going to hold. You'll feel your quads engage, you'll feel your stomach muscles engage, and you'll start warming up your shoulders. You want to push the mat away with your hands. And then from this position, you're going to shoulder tap. So you're going to just tap opposite, alternating sides, right hand to left shoulder, left hand to right. And you'll just do about 5 or 10 per side. Making sure that your hips aren't moving too much. Mine are moving a little bit. I'm moving a little bit too. I'm having to engage my core a bit more, maybe widen my stance. Yep, exactly. 1 more per side. Woo, feel it. Then take a break. You can come back into a nice child's pose. And then always kind of resting and recovering the wrists. Maybe just shake out the wrists a little bit coming up. And now you're going to come back into that bear crawl position, and this time you're going to walk forward. Now, you don't need to do the push-ups necessarily, but you can add a push-up to this if you want to intensify the movement. So you're just going to come into this bear crawl hold, and then walk to high plank. And then walk back, hovering your knees. It's very important to keep your knees hovered. And then walk forward, and then walk back. Now, if you want to add a push-up, walk forward, push up, and then walk back. For those friends who need to modify, walk forward, put down your knees, push up, come back up, come back to high plank, and then walk back to the start position, and then recover. You can do anywhere from 1 to 15 repetitions based on your fitness level. And those, I find, it's a really great exercise to cover the whole front of the body. So now,
that was awesome, Tara.
Yeah. So now you're going to grab your pillow. Now, usually in the gym, I'll have a sandbag, but if you're home, you can start with a pillow, and then as you get stronger, you can progress by using a bag of rice, a bag of potatoes. You could fill a reusable shopping bag with beans, and you can use any weight you want. Now, depending on your fit, it's so fun because you can modify this any way you need to. You can do it on your knees, you could do it on your forearms, or you could do it up on your hands. So what you're going to do is come into a high plank, and you can keep your feet wide. And you're going to keep the pillow on the left side, and you're going to, oh, sorry, I should have told you that.
I'm ready.
And then take your right hand and pull the pillow to the opposite side.
Oh.
And then switch sides.
Underneath you?
Yeah, underneath you. Yep.
Oh, cool.
Keeping your hips really square. So you have to keep your butt down. Now it gets much harder the heavier the weight.
I bet.
And I'll show you on the knees. It's a little easier to do it in high plank. You can do it in a low plank. You just need enough room to let it slide through. One more per side. And then come back into child's pose. So doing, multiple variations of planks are really great. Great fundamental exercises, really good exercises to bring it back to basics. And then the bear crawls, like you're really working the anterior chains. You're working everything on the front of the body, which is awesome. We can work the back of the body by doing bridges and all kinds of moves that Laura probably has shown you. But if you do these exercises, you'll really feel the stomach muscles engaging because you can stabilize through that area.
Yeah, those are awesome. And as core as well as shoulders and arms and all, a lot of stability work, which I really loved. So as you're moving, trying to hold your pelvis stable in that plank position, you're getting to work a lot of things in a very functional, foundational way, like you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. I love those exercises and they burn. I mean, you could do so many different kinds of planks, like plank jacks, slider jack. I mean, there's so many variations, but that's kind of my favorite.
That's
especially
awesome.
with a sandbag.
That's so inventive, Tara. I've never done anything like that with a pillow or a sandbag or potatoes, and that's such a cool thing to be able to do at home.
And you can do it in different angles. Like if you wanted to do it up high and then diagonal, I mean, there's a lot of variations.
You can add a lot of movements with that, but back to basics is a really important start. I think that's a good place for a lot of us to be, or even come back to quite often, because especially those of us who like to do a lot or jump forward or do what we've done before, it's always a good idea to come back to the foundation. And
I agree.
There's always a good time to put that in also.
Oh, definitely. I mean, listen, we're not getting any younger. Some of us have just started earlier. I'm still aging.
Right. So Tara, thank you so much for that workout and for your thoughts and expertise. I just have enjoyed this so much. I know I've learned so much, and I hope everyone out there is learning so much too. Tell us a little bit more about how people can get in touch with you, can find out more. I know you wrote an ebook. What can you share with us if they want to be in touch?
I have a website. It's taramazanec.com, and it's TARAMAZANEC. So the launch of my website, the website's up, but my tech guy is redoing it because it's going to include my ebook, my health action calendar, my 8-week program, and then the template for all of my home workouts, which I'm currently creating. And you can get in touch with me on Facebook, Tara Bishop Mazanec, and I can send that to you. And then on Instagram, it's just @Tara Mazanec. I'm also on LinkedIn, but I never can remember what that, I think it's Tara Mazanec. Just put it Tara Mazanec.
Mine is either. Oh, that's terrific. And I'll be sure to share, I'm getting too high up. I'll be sure to share your information out with people. So they can
Thank you so much. I always love talking to you, and your expertise and your knowledge and your love for what you do is so evident, and it's great to get to know you from a whole other side and see your videos and see all the things you're doing, and so I can call you doctor now.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
What that whole degree was for. No, I was going to say, Tara, I could say the exact same thing about you. It's so fun to catch up, to see how much you've grown and developed, and through your professionalism and your creativity. It's all just a pleasure to see it come forth in all that talent today. Yeah.
Thank you
so much, and thanks again for joining another episode of SuperSoul Boulder. I'm Dr. Lara Johnson from Boulder, Colorado, and Yellow Brick Physical Therapy, and it's been such a pleasure to have my guest Tara Mazanec on for this interview. Thanks so much once again.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Talk soon.